Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Juraj. This is Lukáš. We are from Fameplay. We will be hosting you today. We have a topic that is very close to our hearts. It is called localization, or we call it localization. But with Anton, our guest, we more call it removing the language barriers thanks to the artificial intelligence. We at Fameplay are completely immersed in the artificial intelligence. And just for you to get a little bit of hint of what we do, why we are here, we've prepared a little video for you. Can we play the video?
Hi, we're Fameplay, and we're going to show you 5 examples of how, thanks to AI technology, we can help you create content. First, we localize into foreign languages. Example, we have a very popular show about history, in Czech of course, but because we cloned the voice of the speaker and translated the scripts, we produce it now for 7 global markets.
W Anglii w 1966 roku przeciwnicy grali tak ostro, że Pelé musiał opuścić jeden mecz. In den anderen Spielen kam er gar nicht zum Einsatz und Brasilien schied sensationell in der Gruppenphase aus. Un Pelé disgustado declaró que nunca volvería a jugar en la Copa del Mundo.
The same principle applies when creating audiobooks. We can synthesize any voice that can read really nicely, even with emotion.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
Thou art more lovely and more temperate.
Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May.
And summer's lease hath all too short a date.
And we can work on additional language versions without any limitations.
把你比作一个夏天嘛，可呢，却更可爱而又更线婉，默默齿渠之间的悄然。
Moving on to working with images. Voice cloning is logically suited for dubbing videos, movies, or TV shows, and we can do it including lip syncing.
Půjdeme se podívat na pražské ostrovy v centru Prahy, what condition they are in and whether they are really using their full potential or whether there are places for improvement.
Maybe you have an ad in your language.
Dneska se ojetý auta kupujou z gauče. Chceš to vidět? Podrž mi kafe.
And you don't want to reshoot it when you expand to other markets. We'll simply remake it into other languages, including lip sync.
Astăzi mașina se șace o cumperi de pe canapea. Vrei să vezi? Ținem cafeaua.
Lip sync is one thing, but if you don't like the presenter, you can use masking to change his whole face.
Hello and welcome to Fameplay, the best conceptual creative lab you can find. Hallo und willkommen bei Fameplay. 你好，欢迎来到 Fameplay.
Top level is the production of so-called avatars or digital twins. You won't believe, but they're in short supply.
My name is Zdeněk Haník. I am a volleyball coach and the vice chairman of the Czech Olympic Committee.
I am the avatar of Tomáš Jungwirth, a leading world physicist specializing in spintronics.
Yemi AD, an artist, choreographer, and a pioneer in social innovation.
I am Elena Rosipalova, a board member and CFO at Eon Energy Czech Republic.
Andrei Volchek, co-founder and former president of one of the largest antivirus companies in the world, Gen Digital.
I am Jiří Kejval, a multiple national champion in rowing and the current chairman of the Czech Olympic Committee.
As an internationally recognized scientist in the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning, I also have my own avatar. My name is Tomáš Mikolov.
My name is Petr Havlíček. I am a partner at Atairu, an international company that trains and develops leaders.
Avatars can change their backgrounds and even their clothes, but most importantly, they can say anything you put in their mouths, which our clients use for a variety of purposes.
Through my avatar, I present instructional volleyball videos on YouTube and TikTok, and I can produce them in multiple languages without ever coming to the studio.
You know, I could write posts on LinkedIn like everyone else, but I think using my avatar will make me stand out.
With my avatar speaking multiple languages, I have impressed my colleagues at International Olympic Committee meetings several times.
As the Chief Technology and Innovations Officer at CSOB Group, I use my avatar to produce a video show about digitalization.
Avatars, voice cloning, dubbing into any language, and other AI tools help you reach a global audience in a new way, at a local cost. At Fameplay, we have evaluated more than 100 AI tools. We've tested everything on our own production. And of course, we're strict about legality and data protection. And if you don't know your AI use case yet, we'd be happy to design and evaluate it for you.
Yes, so this is who we are. We love to experiment. Just for the record, all of the footage that was there was actually AI. So we work as a creative lab. We work with the partners. We really are super fortunate that we have the trust of, for instance, Neuron or Czech Olympic Committee for them to create their digital twins. So far, we've created 65 digital avatars, and we are looking for the use cases. We love the use cases in education. We love the use cases in communication, and a couple of those we're going to show you today. What are the products we do?
Yeah. So how do we overcome and eliminate the language barriers? What we use is, it all begins with voice, the right voice to translate. We really like to play with voice cloning and voice synthesis. We play with male and female voices, old and young, different colors, different accents, different languages. Then localization, that's the main thing, from subtitling, translating through subtitles, over dubbing with cloned voices, to dubbing with lip syncing, synchronization of your lips to what you say. Then we use avatars, digital twins, the full body twins for hosts of the shows or for people that need to communicate. And imaging, that means image post-production or image generation. Thanks to AI, we generate shots or we generate animatics like storyboards that can visualize what we want to shoot, and also backgrounds for our avatars. Today we're here more for localization. This is a whole intro for overcoming the language barriers. And can we go to the next slide? And this is what we do, like how we use the localization. In our case, we translate our originals, which includes movies, series, videos. For our clients, which we talk about it in a minute, we also localize the whole YouTube archives, videos that have already been made and need to be published for public global audience. Simple product and how-to videos, that's simple. And also long audio like podcasts or audiobooks. That's what we specialize on too. And that, when it comes to voice cloning, is a very specific discipline, because listening to a long audio requires high-quality voices. And also, one of the last but not least disciplines is localization of TV ads. Like a really expensive production that you want to localize really precisely and at high quality. Our story began, as it was stated in the video, we're still testing a lot of AI tools, because the market, there's a lot of emerging AI tools, generative AI tools. And we keep testing it and implementing it in our workflows. And one of the tools that we came across was a tool that had this mission to become an ultimate one-stop solution for localization. So that's RASK.AI that consists of, or compiles these steps together. It transcripts the original text or the audio, it translates it, it can make subtitles, it can overdub your original content, and it can also adjust the lip sync. And that brings me to introducing our today's guest, who's Anton Selikhov, one of the founding members of RASK.AI. He worked as a CPO at Rask. He will be introducing his new startup in a minute. But Anton, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Is it working? Is the microphone? Mic check.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
good.
it's working.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank
Welcome.
you for having me, guys.
Yeah. And it's last year. Do you remember what project we connected us?
Yeah, actually, the guys here are one of my first customers. Now in Rask, there are more than 2 million users, and everything started from them and from the biography, 10 minutes biography project, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. This is our sort of like a love story, because we always thought that the creators here meaning Czech Republic, are exactly the same or not more talented than everybody else in the world. But we are just limited with the number of people that live in Czech Republic, the 10 million people. And thanks to Rask, we actually found a tool how we can economically viable. We can actually get the content of the historic show, the autobiographies of the famous people to the world. The Czech show is called Životy slavných. It's an educational show that we publish on a weekly basis. We do have 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. We have 4,500 paid subscribers on Hero, which is a paid platform. But very few people know that we actually localize it in the world. And one of the main characters is Pavel Zuna, who is the author, co-author, and the voice, and some really significant author for the show. And with help of Rask, we were able to clone his voice and get Pavel to speak not only Czech, but to speak another 8 languages. And we wanted to show you the example on the Pele episode. If I can play the video, please.
Je 1. října 1977 a na Giant Stadium v New Yorku se tísní přes 75 000 fanoušků. Je to jedna z největších návštěv, jaké kdy ve Spojených státech přišly na utkání v evropském fotbalu, kterému se tady říká soccer. A razão é clara. Neste momento, e aqui mesmo, o futebolista brasileiro Pelé, considerado na altura e por muitos ainda hoje como o melhor jogador de todos os tempos, está prestes a jogar o seu último jogo. Sein letztes Spiel bestreiten. Pelé wird eine Rede halten, in der erklärt, dass die Liebe das Wichtigste ist, was das Leben uns geben kann. La première mi-temps pour le New York Cosmos, où il a terminé sa carrière. La seconde pour le FC Santos du Brésil, où il a joué pendant 18 ans auparavant. New York Cosmos выиграл бы матч со счетом 2-1 благодаря голу Пеле с 30-метрового штрафного удара. Но результат не главное. Главное, что король попрощался. El jugador que fue amado por Brasil, admirado por el mundo y se convirtió en la primera estrella mundial del deporte de piel oscura. And when heavy rain descends on the stadium in the second half, it inspires a telling headline from Brazilian journalists. Even the sky wept.
So the only original language was Czech. The rest was AI generated. But so we were able to actually get it to the world. And how it works, from the Czech version, we create the English version, the 10-minute biographies. And from the English version, we do all the other 7 versions. And for us, it was a magical moment where we could actually show our creators that they have 20,000 subscribers in Spain. And the show that they've written in Czech, in original, people love in Spain. They love it in Brazil. They love it in Polish. They love it in French. So this is something where we are actually really removing the barriers on the VOD content. And thanks to Rask, we were able to do so. And maybe how the distribution works, Lukáš?
Yeah, and I will add one little detail, a little respect to Rask, because when we started last year, the support for Czech language, Czech market is really small, there was none. And Rask implemented, the Czech language for us, and also this multilingual translation. It looks like a simple scheme, right? But that needs a lot of thinking, behind that. Rask helped us to work on, streamlining the multi-language translations. So thank you for doing that for us. But this is, in this scheme, why we want to show this is that to get the idea of how much work you end up with, when you're using generative AI, because you start with one video, original language, and then you end up with up to 200 publications. And what it means is, or what we show this slide is, not only that this is like super cool and that wasn't possible a year ago, but this is also awesome because it answers the question about if AI is going to take all of our jobs. Because if we as local producers, or you guys, have this opportunity to have such a growth on your output, you need a lot of people or a lot of human power to correct all the translations and all the dubbing that's being done. Because AI, generative AI, it's super cool, but it's not 100% correct. So we're showing you this for these 2 reasons. One is that it's really giving you the growth, the scale, and the other one, it's bringing you a lot of work for a lot of people. Let us go to this next reference project, because it's You saw it in a short clip in the video. This is a used cars dealer who also started as a local entrepreneur here in Czech Republic. And then they got really big, they got their funding, and now they're on what, 8, 10 markets?
Yeah. They got I think it's like 200 million, and they are in like 8 countries now.
8 countries.
And they were like struggling with, okay, how can we get our locally produced content relevant to Romania? How can we get it relevant to Albania, to the South, to Balkan countries? And they came to us with the problem.
Yeah, with the same question, how do we localize it at lower cost? So we did the commercial, you saw it in the video, but this next case was, how do we localize our YouTube content? And imagine you have like 70 videos. It's a used car reviews. So 20-minute long episodes. By 70, by 9, you end up like, what, 12,000 minutes of dubbing. So you have to not only have the scheme and have the plan and the distribution plan, but also know how to streamline it and how to adjust the level of how you use the generative AI, to what level, so it's still effective for you financially and time-wise. So the next slide will guide us to a little video, which just watch it and listen carefully, because these are like 3 steps of localization. We just wanted to show it to you. It's interesting. The first one is just a simple dubbing using cloned voice. So you can hear the original voice track and then the cloned voice overdubbing with no emotions, nothing. Then there's second sequence where we're adding lip sync corrections. So the guy moves his lips move correctly. And then the third step is adding emotions to the translation. So you can imagine, of how much control over the dubbing the AI gives you. So can we play the video, please?
Wenn du vom schnellsten Kombi sprichst, was fällt dir ein? Ich interessiere mich für den RS6. Wenn die Jungs mich nicht beraten hätten, hätte ich nie an den M5 Touring oder den Mercedes E63 AMG gedacht. Als ob sie nicht existieren. Das stuft sie für mich völlig neu ein. Wenn du vom schnellsten Kombi sprichst, was fällt dir ein? Ich interessiere mich für den RS6. Wenn die Jungs mich nicht beraten hätten, hätte ich nie an den M5 Touring oder den Mercedes E63 AMG gedacht. Als ob sie nicht existieren. Das stuft sie für mich völlig neu ein.
Ich interessiere mich für den RS6. Wenn die Jungs mich nicht beraten hätten, hätte ich nie an den M5 Touring oder den Mercedes E63 AMG gedacht. Als ob sie nicht existieren. Das stuft sie für mich völlig neu ein.
Yeah, so this was just a short sample.
Yeah, no, this is something for us is completely game changer, because once you can get the emotions, you can get the attention, you can get the view rate, you can get the time with the content locally relevant just from one source. I mean, this is changing the game for the content distribution overall. The third example is actually something super special. It's called International Volleyball Academy, and we are passionate about educational content and get the really, really smart people and smart content to the world. And I think this is one of the most best examples. Zdeněk Haník is one of the avatars you've seen in the introduction video, but he's also the vice chairman of Czech Olympic Committee, and he's honestly one of the most worldly recognized trainer for volleyball. So he's sought after in the US, in Japan, in Asia for his technique of how to train kids volleyball. He's one of the he's 70 plus, but he's like a TikToker, super successful Czech TikToker, 50,000 subscribers, and his knowledge is really unique. So underneath the videos in TikTok, you could actually get the demand from the different countries. The only problem is that Zdeněk speaks only Czech and German.
A little bit.
So there is German. Little bit German. Okay, so he speaks Czech and a little bit German, but his know-how is so unique that we're thinking together. Okay, so how can we get his know-how to the world and help educate kids in the high schools or primary schools in physical education in California? And we're able to do so. We've cloned his voice. We've made his avatar, and he also partnered with Helena Havelková. Helena is honestly the best Czech women volleyball player globally. And so we cloned both of them, their voice. We made their digital twins, and we set up the International Volleyball Academy channel in English. So it's a high value 10, 12-minute videos and the shorts that are being distributed, and already the content is getting really high traction. Like one of the best feedbacks you could get if Lukáš get a call from California High School, from the physical education teachers, that they are using the videos to train the kids in California. I even get the goosebumps when talking about that. It's so amazing. And we wanted to give you, and we are continuing then in Spanish, then in Portuguese. There's demand from Brazil. So Zdenek will be able to speak fluent Portuguese and train Portuguese kids in Brazil, or Brazilian kids in Brazil in Portuguese. And that's something
amazing.
that was not possible a year before. And we've prepared a little example to show you just on the short videos how the avatars look, how they speak. And if you can play the video, please.
It used to be assumed that a player should get into a two-legged stance at all costs when receiving, as in this case. However, this is not always possible due to the speed of the incoming ball, as these shots of top volleyball prove.
Instead, we try to equip players with as large a repertoire of locomotion movements as possible in our modern methodology so that they can handle these situations successfully. These range from receiving in front of the body followed by backing up, to rotating the torso and receiving in a position without ground support, actually a miniature jump, to receiving in a forward fall. All of these leg movements during the reception are included in modern volleyball.
Yeah, so this is something that basically didn't exist before. The quality content and the technical instructions are on the next level, and that wouldn't be possible without Rask and the Gen AI. So this is our example we are super excited about.
And it's only the beginning, right?
It's only the beginning. We are only getting started, but the generative AI space is moving so fast that I'm glad that Anton can tell us what's next for removing the barriers.
Yes, we live in incredible times of change in generative AI world. It moves really, really fast, and I'm happy to introduce my vision of the next frontier for generative AI localization. So I'm now also founder and CEO at Talo, and Talo is a real-time AI translator for video calls. So basically, the problem of language barriers is one of the ancient problems on Earth, because from the stories from Babel Tower, we have that problems, people understanding each other. But it still exists nowadays, because businesses lose customers, and especially as Europeans, we know that the fragmentation of languages cause a lot of problems in terms of business, in terms of communication. So that's why we are building Talo. And Talo is a real-time AI translator for video calls. And our solution is that we want to translate from one language to any other language, real-time, using the existing tools for video calls like Zoom, like Microsoft Teams. And here how it works, actually. Can you please play the video?
For one thing, you definitely see a lot of famous startup founders. Han escrito tipo de Ángel y cheques en las empresas que tienden a hacer bien y así. Und ich denke, dass die Leute das manchmal damit verwechseln, dass ich einen erheblichen Teil meiner Zeit damit verbringen sollte, à chercher et à essayer d'être un investisseur providentiel au lieu de faire fonctionner mon entreprise. Et je pense que si je pouvais essayer de vous expliquer ce qui se passe réellement. عندما تكون مؤسساً جيداً فإنك في كثير من الأحيان تعرف أشخاصاً طيبين آخرين. 그리고 그들에게 돈을 줄 수 있는 기회는 시간이나 노력이 거의 필요하지 않습니다.
Yes, and we are onboarding our first enterprise customers. We're starting with them in August, and we're expecting this product to be live for everyone around October, September. And I'm happy to share you the ideas of the use cases, the real use cases that we're working right now, how it can actually change the world of business and the people communication. So the first use case, quite obvious for international enterprise companies. So if your company is working in different countries, that means that you have colleagues who probably can not share the same language with you. And for that kind of customers, the Talo is the perfect solution. So one example that I have a Brazilian customer. They do marketplace for 3D designers, interior designers, and they have 2,000 Brazilian designers, very great ones, who works with the Brazilian customers, but they want to go international. And so, but they're struggling that their designers cannot speak English with their clients. So by implementing our solution, they can double their business right away. The second use case is for organizations like World Vision. So World Vision is a humanitarian Christian organization operating in more than 100 countries. They have offices everywhere. They have more than 30,000 employees. And when something bad happens in this world, for example, earthquake in Turkey, they have the fast response team. The fast response team connect with the locals and trying to help them. But the problem they're facing that they don't know in which country something bad will happen. So for that case, with Talo, they can quickly start helping people on the ground. And the third use case, it's quite personal. It's absolutely real. So after introducing Talo on my personal LinkedIn page, I got a message from the guy who is a product manager, and he's an immigrant. But his father is in Indonesia, and he's sick. So he asked me to give him Talo so he can communicate with doctors in Indonesia so they can help his father. And that's why this is so important project for me personally, because we can really help a lot of people by removing language barriers. All right. We can have some questions, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah, we can definitely go to questions. I'm not sure if you... I was just amazed when I saw the real-time feature. So I was asking Anton like how it's going to work in September. So imagine that you would actually add to the Zoom call, you would add your personal translator, and you could actually communicate with our Chinese colleagues. We can actually get Zdeněk to communicate and train the kids real time in Chinese. I got even like, that's super cool. So do you have any questions to Anton or to anybody, please? Do we have a mic somewhere? I think there's a microphone.
I can give this one.
Okay. So.
Okay, let me get it.
Thank you very much for this very interesting presentation so far. It's very interesting. I'm just would like to know is like what skill set or what skills someone needs to be employed by you, let's say. Like what are the skills if you want to be, let's say, a part of this innovative market, to be employed or to be part of, like what skills or what flexible skills needed, let's say?
For Talo or for Finplay?
I think it's a question. I think it's a question for you. It's more about the technical piece, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Who is hiring here, right? So we're primarily, as an early stage startup, our main goal right now is to build the actual product. So that's why we're looking for software engineers, back-end, front-end engineers. So it's mostly technical roles, but as soon as we grow, I hope we will open many different opportunities.
But what is the, can you maybe extrapolate on the profile? Like what do you need to be trained on? I'm actually really interested.
You mean what
technical capabilities? What do you need to have?
Okay, for the model itself.
Yes.
If you want to build real-time AI translation, you need a lot of data. Like data is a new oil. It's a cliche. Everyone saying that, but it's true. So we started with the data that is publicly available. For example, the data sets from European Parliament. It's a free open data set. So if you want to train your own localization model, you can use that. It's a very good quality. but I think data is one of the biggest challenges nowadays, so we'll see how we can overcome it.
Thank you. Cool. Good. There's a question. Here's a question.
I have 1,000 questions. You're hitting me, you're body punching every part of my life. I worked in Hollywood for 10 years. The strike we just went through, in this fight is epic. I work as an English teacher and translator. You're putting me out of a job.
We're not.
I know. And of course, I also run an Airbnb. And one of the funny things about my Airbnb is people assume I'm German or Polish because it's instantly translating my messages back and forth. When this gets to be full scale, that'll be really wonderful. You guys mentioned tooling the emotions. That is done by a human operator familiar with the local language?
Nope. It's done through the model, so it reads the context of the text, so it adjusts the emotions on the output.
Okay, so it's able to read the emotion from the original.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's a very difficult thing, obviously. Though, putting the emotion in a certain place makes a big difference in communication, of course.
Yeah, and it's tricky when you're reviewing a car. The machine has to know that it's sexy to talk about the sound of the engine because it's not obvious, right? So you have to, train it. You know what I mean?
Right. But you also mentioned proofreaders. Like you basically have proofreaders who are proofreading. Okay, so that's done.
So there's a couple of components to that. So the model is trained on both ways. One is when we are doing the audiobooks, it's a long-form content. In the very beginnings of the AI, the voice would get robotic. It's sort of like it would be fading a little bit. Now the models there's much more data in the models, in the 11 Labs models and the others that we use, but actually it can read as a human. It can understand the tonality, the drama of the text, and it can get to the 90-95% of the emotions of the actual reader. So that's one thing. The other thing is it can understand the context of the language, right? So if it's in German, if it's in Turkish, if it's in the different language, and if you combine these two, that's so it can understand the context of the drama that is going on in the text, plus the context of the language and the culture in which you are going to translate it to, then really the magic happens, and then you can find a scalable solution. So that's sort of something where we were, and it's evolving so fast. I was asking Anton yesterday, how do you gonna choose the languages? I mean, you're gonna start with English, Spanish. What is the conditions for doing Thai or Chinese or Korean? And it's all about the data sets you can actually put in, but then you can actually connect it to the other models and bring it to the market really fast. So this is a week-on-week basis, we can see the improvements in the tools.
Okay, so I'm going to hog the mic for one more, actually two-part question. If you're of a certain age in this country, you grew up speaking Czech and Slovak. It was on the TV, it was in the radio. There's a little bit of a nostalgia, for people over 50 for those days, and maybe over 40. Is something being lost when we make it this simple? Question one. But question two, there are literally languages that are dying. I mean, the last surviving member of this tribe who speaks the language. So I see a great opportunity there to dive right in, not just on a corporate level, make the money, blah, 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 but there's your charity, because there was a charity conversation here. I mean, that should be part of the charitable use of this technology, to rescue those languages, get them into a database, get them from a native speaker before they're gone.
Yeah, absolutely agree on the part of dying languages. This is something that we think a lot, but this is a two-sided problem. So it's not only, it should be a collaboration between governments and businesses, because let's take our business as an example. We're an early stage startup, so we choose which language to add based on the return on investment, right? Because it's hard to build a business, it's expensive to train the model. And the data sets for dying languages is not widely available. So you don't have any data. That means that you need to hire a lot of humans, or at least find these people who speak these dying languages, right? And so we cannot fund these activities. So we cannot put our money because we don't have that much money, right? So, and I think we need to have some kind of collaboration. So AI companies works closer with some kind of organizations or governments.
You should have been here yesterday, because there was like Bezos people walking around.
I just want to, say our take, Fameplay's take on that topic. You've seen from the, International Volleyball Academy and, from the edutainment series, 10-minute biographies. We are not maybe, preserving languages. I don't think that we thought about that, but we are preserving information and education. We're really after that, because we originally started as a production of infotainment and edutainment, video production. So we're really crazy about preserving what specific people know, the knowledge, and pass it on. So that's why we work with avatars, to keep people alive for longer than they will actually live, and to keep the knowledge.
And maybe one quick comment, and then we go to questions. But on the 10-minute biographies, the unit economy for the Czech version was so. It was like we were 3 weeks of canceling the show, even though it's super valuable, because the unit economy just didn't work on the monetization front. But then the Gen AI age happened, and we were able to actually scale it to other languages and monetize it in Spain, monetize it in Brazil, in the UK, and suddenly the unit economy started to work. So we actually preserved the show that is being used on the high schools to teach history and all of that. So in this respect, this actually really helps the small countries and small sort of languages, communities, populations to get their unique know-how to the world, because then you can actually make it sustainable.
And the same applies to human AI translators as well, because if we will take the big enterprise company, so they are now have human AI interpreters for all hands meeting, but when it's just regular employees trying to speak to each other, they cannot afford to have humans. So like human work is a new luxury in that sense. And so that's why we do not think that we take the job of human interpreters. We just add the use case where you cannot afford the human, but now you can understand your peer.
Okay, I'd like to ask about the original step in this process is to translate from one language to another using an AI system. Now, AI systems are not perfect as yet, so how can you avoid any mistakes in moving from one language to 10 languages, Some of them, obviously, you have some close knowledge of, but when you're working into 10 different languages, then there's quite a chance that there might be some nuance which is misinterpreted by the AI system.
Yeah, thank you for the question, because that was that's how we started. Are we going to use generative AI for translation if we don't speak the languages ourselves? And we decided to do so in order to test the market for 10-minute biographies. We didn't know what country would love, or would like to watch this show, so we just took the risk. And it's just as you said, it's 80% quality. So then, when we tested the markets and we knew that it's worth it to focus on Germany and Spanish-speaking countries, we implemented two things. First, we got rid of idioms and sayings in all the translations, which kind of killed the emotions in it, but it made it super clear. So we went from Czech to English, clean it, from the idioms and ambiguities and all that. And so we made it safe. And second, we hired proofreaders. So we have a network of people that actually proofread it. But we're pushing Rask and all the other tools and DeepL, Christopher that was here two days ago, to implement the idiom translation to the generative AI tools, because that's really needed for preserving the emotions in the text.
Yeah, and also maybe just to, the more data and the more training is there, the more idioms and specifics and culture context can be captured. That's one. And second, and that was your question as well, we're looking at the proofreading tools, because now, or proof watching tools, right? Mm-hmm. Because now we're using the people in each countries to actually check the content, right? Actual humans for the French translation, for instance. But then the software and the AI tool is being made where actually it simulates the human doing the proof watching and proofreading, So there's already the control there on the endpoint. Because that was the most sort of like funny part on the French piece, because it's very difficult to be relevant in French, in the French accent and in the French context, for instance, in Paris, than in the regions. First time we did the cloning, we don't speak French, so we cloned it, and it was a Quebecian Canadian accent. and they gave us a feedback that nobody's gonna watch it in Paris, you know. So we had to really train and get the model to do the Parisian accent. That's first. Then second, the proofreading, proof watching is something that we started with humans, and now we try to automate it as well.
Thank you very much. One more question about the cloning and the avatars. It's a wonderful concept, but I'm thinking, is there also a risk that this could be misused and someone will put out or hack into an avatar of a famous person and put words into their mouth that they never said?
Yeah, of course. It's a new risk, but the risk of, of your audiovisual likeness on the internet being misused or abused has already been there, even before generative AI. But what we focus on is that we take the legal part of our business really seriously. So we're like half we focus on technology and production and half on legal. So we make sure that we have good contracts with tools like RASK.AI, HeyGen, and all the partners. But also on the other hand, that we gave these, the safety to our clients and partners that we work with.
So are you offering a service which you have strict control over, or is it a product which eventually will be in some form in the public domain?
No, 100%. We are this is something that we started the premise with because obviously, when the new innovation and the technology comes, typically it tends to be misused very fast, and we're trying to see proof that there's positive examples and that actually there are positive use cases in education, in communication, in all the other parts. When somebody has maybe the disability in speech, then this avatar can actually get the message through pretty clearly. And we try to also work with the regulators, so maybe you've heard about the AI regulation that is actually gonna be on the global level. The EU is really working towards that, and we try to work with the antivirus companies just to get to the marking that you are actually watching the AI content. We don't want to deceive people. We want to make sure that they know that they are watching the digital twin, that they are not watching somebody who they think they are watching and it's not the real person. But to understand that without this technology, the person wouldn't be able to talk to them because they just simply don't have time. As Daniel or Helena is playing volleyball. She doesn't have time to do videos for kids, but with her avatar, she can actually do the education for kids. So these are sort of like the positive examples we want to drive the change. And obviously the regulation will need to happen because as you can see, the US elections coming and all of the political debates and deepfakes and things like that. This is the technology that is so important to be regulated on a global scale. The last time something like this happened, it was the nuclear energy regulation, and now it's AI. So it definitely needs to happen, and we are absolutely 100% supporting it, because we really believe in the power of technology, but also the power of misuse.
And how long is it, or how far is it to a point where companies start to get nervous, thinking that their remote working employees are actually avatars who are putting in their reports?
There's been a couple of examples where you could actually see that there's people on the call that are not people on the call. But we are actually testing the live avatar feature. Maybe I can tell that, where you actually have a conversational avatar. So you will train the model behind the avatar. For instance, you are, investment fund. You have certain investment profile. You want to talk to the specialist and understand what the investment profile looks like. You can talk to the avatar that has the data from the investment fund, so you can actually get the good customer support. You can get the answers. It can be pretty useful for this. So that's where we're.
Thank you very much.
And you can have less meetings.
And you have less meetings.
Okay.
Hi guys.
Hello.
So you said translation in real time starts in September. On what platforms?
Yes, we will start with Google Meet, but we will expand into Zoom and Microsoft Teams quite fast because it's the same approach. We will be using the same approach, but we will start for the MVP. We will start with Google Meet.
Okay, is it the part of the price or the platform, or is it something you have to pay extra?
Yes, you will have to pay extra. So we're not Google. We're not part of Google yet, at least. So our pricing is 10 cents per minute currently.
Okay, thank you. And I have a question for you. When you have the videos online on YouTube, you want to make in other languages, you have to have each video for each language, or is it somehow you can choose the language in the video?
Yeah, we are basically building separate channels for separate countries, so it's each video in different language, because you need to have, for the viewer in Spanish, they want to have the whole package. You need to have the video, the description, the subtitles, the contents, the references, the comments, and you want to make it relevant to each of the countries. So how we did it, we did the Czech channel, then we did the English channel, and from English channel we did 8 separate channels. So for Spanish viewers, we have a Spanish dos minutos biografías. That's what we have for Spanish, etc. So it looks, the graphics is the same, the content is the same, but it's specifically for each country because that's what you want as a viewer. You don't want to change and skip, and so each country has its own video.
And it's also interesting that we found out that we have a different publishing plan for each single country, because it's 10-minute biographies. It depends if the episode is going to do well. It depends what Netflix series is on, what national holidays is on. Like every country has a specific interest and special timing for the episodes to be published. So we have different publishing plans. So it's not like Mr. Beast who like compile it into one big channel.
And then it's really interesting. Now you have 8 different languages, 8 different cultures, and you can see that some personalities from the history works much more in the Spanish-speaking countries. Some personalities work in German-speaking countries, in English-speaking countries. So it actually goes to the way that we are actually adjusting the publication plans, and we are like selecting the autobiographies of the people based on the country more. So it starts to get sort of this culturally or sort of contextually relevant in each country. It's really interesting actually. So we can compare like how the Frida Kahlo episode is doing in Czech versus Brazil versus Spain. What are the people focusing in the comments? So you can see all of the, if you read the comments, like people are commenting on completely different things in Spanish-speaking countries than in Germany, for instance. It's really interesting to see the cultural references, and then the creative team actually gets the feedback, saying, okay, we might want to start the series on the famous female, from the history, and from this particular field, from that particular field. So actually creating this feedback loop for the creators in each of the different cultures, and it actually helps us to create more shows, and it really actually works as a flywheel.
Okay, thank you very much for answering. Because I have an international volleyball tournament as well, and this is the main problem, to reach the audience all over the world. That's why I'm asking if I have to have all the channels, or I can have in one just to choose the language. Or if it's possible to somehow implement, like in the videos, your tool to generate the translation in real time.
That's a good question.
So in YouTube, you can choose which audio stream you want to use. So you can implement something like that into YouTube, but we are really focused on video calls right now. Maybe someday.
All right, thank you. One last small question. So in September on Google, will be there Czech as well?
Yeah, that's my question.
Please tell me yes.
I'm going red, unfortunately no. But
yeah,
if we will have a little bit more Czech data sets, maybe sponsored by government and open for public, we can add Czech as well.
We have a lot of data.
So which languages will be?
Yes, it will be Spanish, Portuguese, English. Yeah, we will start with that, and then we will add more languages as we go. Yes.
So the use case for me would be speaking English and translating to Spanish.
To Spanish, yes. English-Spanish is very common. Yeah.
Okay.
So they keep handing me this thing, so I'll keep asking questions. Isn't there a reason why language barriers actually exist and why they evolved and developed over time? Are we playing with fire here, Prometheus? And I use myself as an example. I've lived here for 20 years, and I still don't speak Czech very well. It makes my wife quite angry. But I often joke with people, I also don't listen to the old fart behind me complaining about his doctor on the tram It's just a beautiful white noise that surrounds me. A language barrier can be a wonderful thing. What are you doing?
I feel you. I live in Spain and I don't speak any Spanish. So, and I'm too lazy to learn, so that's why we're creating the tool.
I think you have freedom of choice, right? You can use it or not. I actually really like the concept that you would add the translator to the call. It's super cool, so you have a person there, sort of like a helper. It's all my dream with the AI that I will have the agents, that my agent will go to the post office, the other one will go and clean the house, you know. That's sort of a future we can invite. Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
Yeah, great, I'm here. So how do you choose languages exactly? Because you said Portuguese. Yeah. How do you choose Portuguese? It doesn't sound really economic. To me.
No, actually, there are two reasons how we can add languages. First, as I said, data availability. And the second one is economic potential, how easy it is to sell, so how many people will use that. And we have a lot of demand from Brazil right now because they have really good IT workers, designers who want to go international, who want to sell to the US.
And so, should I go to you to make my own avatar or our organization avatar?
Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. So because we started, it was a coincidence, we started with one of the leadership companies that is training the leaders. And suddenly we saw the quality of the production and we said, okay, so how can we make the avatars useful? So what we do now, as I said, we've created 65 avatars of 65 real people so far for the past year. And it's a combination of managers or CEOs that want to speak to their employees around the world. So they are multinational corporation CEOs and they want to talk to their German employees in German, to their Spanish colleagues in Spanish, etc. So that's a couple of use cases like that. The second one are the sort of like celebrities or people who are like publicly known and they want to create more content, you know, for social media to invite people for their, you know, shows to actually talk to people more, but they don't have the time to go to the studios. And then we have the content creators, such as Denek Hanik from volleyball, where he doesn't speak the language, right? So we created his avatar and he's training volleyball in English, you know. Yeah, and we've seen the education pieces where the avatars really have the potential. So, you know, learning language with the avatar, so you can have a conversational agent. So that's something, and or you know, you can define your use case. We are always evolving. For instance, one use case that came to mind, we're working with one of the big banks in Czech Republic, and there is a board member who is responsible for the financial security or the financial education of people. And her avatar, she's a board member, but her avatar is actually showing the people how not to get scammed online. So it's really cool. So the avatar is explaining on her avatar, saying like, this is how you can know that this is a scam. And she's explaining all of the fraud activities that are being done to people, such as, you know, you're gonna get an SMS that you need to put your bank details to the post office, your package is on the way, etc., etc. And this is sort of a way where we find a pretty good use case, and she doesn't do anything. Her communication team sends us the script, we generate the videos, we publish it on LinkedIn or the other social media, and it actually works for her, and she doesn't need to be in the studio anymore. So that's sort of use cases. So if you wanna make an avatar, we can do that. We do like studio version avatar, the professional avatars, live avatars. You choose.
Great, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Okay.
May I have one more question for you, if you are here?
For sure.
What do you think? What is the distance from the online calls, translation in real time, to the real-time translations face-to-face, like on the meetings, maybe Congress, EU Congress and stuff like that?
Yes, I think it will develop in parallel. So as soon as we will get to good quality during the video calls, the same time we will have some tools that can help you with face-to-face communication offline, because it's pretty much the same technology. It's the different user experience. So if I can guess, I will bet on 3 years tops.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thanks.
Thank you.